Hey YouTubers, this is Paul Lentz back for another podcast. This time I'm at DuBose Park here in San Francisco. It's a very nice sunny day out here today, um, and I got here a little early at the dog park because I had a doctor's appointment where I had to have some blood taken because I watched a podcast last week with Michael Sartan and Rollo Tomasi where they were talking about this thing called TRT, which is testosterone repair therapy or something like that. And basically, for guys who get up there in age, and they said it's like they feel better at 46 than they did at 26. And so I figured, okay, I talked to my doctor about it, and she said that they had to take my blood to see like what level your testosterone level is. And so I did that early this morning because they'd have to do it like when we first get up. And so I'm already out and about. I took my dog with me, and I'm like, normally I get here to the dog park around 11:30, 12 o'clock, but I was already out and about, and so I walked up here, and I'm thinking I'd come here a little early, and I'd make instead of waiting until this evening to make a video, I'll make one right now until like another hour before the guys I kind of hang out with during around for like an hour and a half, 2 hours until they get here with their dogs, and my dog will hang out with their dogs. But anyway, I forgot to take advantage of this nice day and make a video. There's two things I want to talk about. One thing I want to talk about is I was watching this podcast it's called the No Fuguzi podcast by this guy he's a black guy named Cooley, and I forget who his co-host is, and they do a lot of like dating and like high value men, and they have like female guests on their show. They have like two couches. They'll have like three females on one couch and three females on the other, and these women all come in there and they all say like, hey, what do I gotta do to meet a high value man? Okay, it's like the guys are dating, they don't want to commit, they're fucking, they can't keep in their pants, they cheat, they're dogs, they're whatever, and they all think like, so they all have a laundry list of stuff they're looking for from a man. And it's like, and he'll ask them like, what do you bring to the table? What are you looking for and what you bring to the table? So they all asking, I want a tall guy, I want a handsome guy, I want a guy with money, and I want a guy to do this. And then they ask them like, well, what do you bring to the table? And it's like they always say, me, my energy. I'm like, oh, what? So a wealthy guy is supposed to a wealthy, good-looking, tall, handsome guy is supposed to just commit to you because you bring you. Because, and he listens, and it's just like, they don't understand how delusional they are, but I'll get that in a minute. So he had this one lady who was a light-skinned black lady. She was 34 years old, claimed to be a virgin, said that she's looking for a guy to settle down, who's tall, handsome, and wealthy. Those are the three things she said: tall, handsome, and wealthy. And she's 34 years old. She has a very pleasant face to look at. Sounds like she got some morals, so she doesn't fuck around. She's looking for like a meaningful thing. But she's not obese fat, but she's probably about 35, 40 pounds overweight. But she's one of the ladies that can kind of carry good. But, I mean, she's not going to get a tall, handsome, wealthy man to wife her up. Okay? She's 34 years old. And so, now this is the softest I've ever seen a man tell a woman that she needs to go to the gym and lose some weight. And he took him 5 minutes and he just softened it up in the most polite way. Because a lot of women say it's like these guys who are direct, like Kevin Samuels, Fresh and Fit, it's like they'll say, well, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Because these guys are like, they don't pull punches, they're direct. Like the men that call in or that come on the show and they're like, hey, I want a bad bitch, what I gotta do to get a hottie? And it's like, go to the gym, get a fucking job, build yourself up. All right? And they're direct with these guys. They don't pull any punches, they don't sugarcoat anything with these men. But with these fucking women, oh my God, it's like, fuck you, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't, blah, blah, blah. It's like, so anyway, I'm going to get to what this lady had to say. So he asked her, it's like, her age, she's 34, what she's looking for, she's all this. And he says, look, the type of man that you're looking for is rare. Basically, those men, high value men who look good, who are tall, don't grow on trees. I mean, and so he's like saying that what it takes for a guy to even get a woman's attention, because most women dismiss most men. Most women, reject most men. So for a man to build himself into being a high value guy, that motherfucker has to hit all kinds of fucking check marks. And so he explained. And so when he's at a point where he's ready to looking for somebody to wife up, he has his own checklist. And he goes, I've dealt with these men. I'm an image consultant. I know what these guys want. He goes, you hit some of those check marks, okay? You have morals. You don't give it away. But you're going to have to hit the gym. And she had this flabbergasted look on her face. Is like, what? She goes, that's never been a problem. She goes, my weight's never been, I can attract men. And he goes, no doubt. But apparently the men that you attract are men that you don't want. And you should have seen the fucking look on her face when he said that. It's like, you no doubt have options, but they're the options you don't want. Well, she goes, well, I've been with high value men. He goes, well, where's the ring? And she's like, well, they weren't ready to settle down. And he goes, listen, attracting a man is one thing. Keeping his attention and getting him to wife you up, that's a totally different story. And he says, for whatever reason, you haven't been able to attract and keep the guy that you want. The guys that you attract are the guys you don't want. And she's saying that there's more than me than just my weight. And he said, ma'am, I'm sure there is, but here's the thing is, that guy you're looking for is never going to see those other qualities you have unless you go to the gym and lose some weight. And she started fucking crying. I couldn't believe that shit. I mean, this guy was the softest way I've ever seen a man basically tell her what she needs to hear if she wants to meet that tall, handsome, wealthy guy that she claims to want to wife her up. And she started crying, and of course the other females on the panel were like, oh, poor baby, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, listen, you asked, and I'm telling you, you don't like it. I'm sure it stinks, but you know what? This is the truth. Now, if you don't want to do what it takes to get that high value man that you say you want, then you need to target a regular guy. And she didn't want to hear that. She goes, no, I'm not settling. So he goes, well, so you want him to settle. Even though you don't settle, you're going to tell him to settle. And she repeated like, well, there's more than me. I offer so much more than my weight. I've been able to attract guys. That's not the issue. And he said, yes, but the guy that you want, you have not been able to attract. And she wouldn't listen, And then, like before they had this discussion, his co-host, who's a guy who goes to the gym, this guy's a good-looking guy. He goes to the gym. He's built himself up. But he's only 5'5". And she said before all this discussion happened that, oh, I can't date you because you're only 5'5". And yet, I mean, and women say it all the time. It's like they will dog a man, particularly the man that they want, if he disqualifies her for being overweight or she's not fit enough. But these same women will totally disqualify a man that's 5'5". I mean, he could hit every check mark, but if that motherfucker's 5'5", they don't want anything to do with him. But if a man doesn't want a woman that's not in shape, oh, he's a fucking misogynistic asshole. And that's the problem with dating today, is that, when women have preferences, they lump them as standards. But there's a difference between preferences and standards, okay? Standards are things you don't compromise on, okay? A standard is a guy going to be faithful? Is he going to treat you right? Is he going to, communicate with you? If he's going to want the same goals, okay? A preference, another standards, a man is basically how your relationship goes. And your morals. Preferences have nothing to do with the quality of your relationship. How tall somebody is, how much hair they have, how many muscles they have, how big his dick is, how fat his wallet is. Those are preferences. Because as long as a man has a decent job, he makes decent income, you don't have to live a wealthy lifestyle. All right? You just need to live a decent lifestyle, comfortable lifestyle. Because most couples are never going to be rich. But the thing with these modern day females, particularly the ones that are college, career, and making their own money, they think that they can be like men who are in their league, quote, in their league, and they can just, in other words, like when a man becomes successful and he builds himself up and he becomes that 4.5 guy, he basically has his pick of the litter. Now, if he were to target a woman to wife up who's educated, career, makes money, all right, that's because he wants to. But that same guy, if he were to meet a hot woman that's in her early 20s who works as a barista at Starbucks, he could also wife her up and be totally happy. Because for that guy, all he cares about, the main thing is she hot? Is she sexy? Is she fertile? Is she peaceful? Now, the other stuff, sure, it may matter, it depends on the person you are or what your flavor is. But just like if a guy ain't 6 feet tall, most women don't look at his ass. Okay? Because they say all the time, well, there's more than a guy's wealth in how tall he is. But yeah, but if he's not tall and he's not wealthy, you're not going to see how great his personality is, okay? You're not going to see what a great communicator he is. You're not going to see what a nice guy he is. You're not going to see how faithful he is. Because if he don't hit those fucking check marks, most women are going to ignore his fucking ass. And so the lady just, I'm like, really? With the fucking tears. And so that just shows that with most women, it doesn't matter how you say it to them. Is if you say it to them to begin with, they're going to fucking cry and get butthurt over it, because most women would rather believe a comfortable lie than a painful truth. Because they say all the time, oh, I want a guy to be honest with me, communicate with me, tell him what's on his mind. And I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Because when a guy's honest, you vilify him for it. Okay? Because the worst thing a woman can ask a guy, her boyfriend or her husband, is, honey, do I look sexy today? I feel fat. Now, if a husband says, yeah, baby, you do look fat today, that motherfucker's going to be sleeping on the couch for the next fucking 2 months, okay? All right? So now he has to fucking lie to her and tell her, no, baby, you're fantastic. You're as great as, you're looking more beautiful than you did the day I married you. Which is total fucking bullshit. But they just want that, they'll say it, but they want that what I call the comfortable lie that validates them. Whereas men, on the other hand, they need to hear fucking painful fucking truths. Okay? Because a man, if he doesn't live in the land of probability, society punishes his ass for that shit. Which I'm going to get into this other conversation I had yesterday here at the dog park with this young lady who's probably in her late 20s. She had a dog that she brings here in the afternoon. And I was having a discussion with a friend of mine about like the stats, so like how tall, like how rare it is to find a guy that's even tall, like who's like 6 feet tall and makes 100K. Okay, and it's like the more check marks you have, the rarer it is to find a guy. And so I asked her, she got here, and I said, hey, I have a question for you. What percentage of the male population you think is 6 feet tall? And I said, what percentage you think is 100K? And I started, and so, she asked me, well, why you want to know this? And I said, I've been watching a lot of this red pill content. And Stella, hold on, come here. This is my dog. Say hi, Stella. Give me a kiss, girl. Give me a kiss. Good girl. All right, go. Anyway, and as soon as she got on the defensive. She was like, oh, these guys, guys need to get their shit together. I told her, I said, all guys have it so easy. That's what she said. Guys have it easy. They can't keep in their pants. Just went like total, delusional. And I said, no. I said, most men can't fucking cheat. Most men struggle dating. She goes, no, they don't. You guys all do this. And I'm like, listen, the guys that you notice, they're the ones that are fucking playing the field. They're the ones who are fucking racking up the body count. They're the ones that are fucking cheating. But most men can't even get one fucking woman. nevertheless trying to have a fucking roster. But the problem is that the men that they notice are the ones that are doing all the cheating. And those guys only make up 4.5% of the male population. All right? And I'll say this over again. 4.5% of men are basically running through, smashing and dashing, and pumping and dumping 35, 40% of women out there. But they want to say all guys do this. And it's like, no. All guys are not fucking doing this shit because most men don't have the option to fucking cheat. Just like, they say women say, oh, I got options out there. But yeah, the options you have are not the options you want. Oh, men hit on me all the time. Yeah, that's true. But they're not the men that you fucking want. Okay? And it's like they don't understand basic math. Like they think that men who are tall, that make money, who look good, these motherfuckers grow on trees. And it's like, no, they don't fucking grow on trees. And so she got very defensive and says like, men just need to quit prioritizing sex so much and like, and to start communicating and being emotional. And it's like, it's like, I said, you just want to turn men into like a basically pussified version of a man. And then when you turn them into that simp, then you're going to resent the motherfucker because, yeah, you want a masculine man that does what the fuck you tell him to do. That's what they want. And it's like the type of men that they're attracted to, they don't become that guy by being a fucking simp. And it's like, and the thing is like, okay, a lot of guys, when they build themselves up and they make money, they take care of they go to the gym and they become that high value man, they can pick who they want to pick. And like I said, it doesn't matter. Now, she can have money, she can be educated, she can be smart, okay? But that's a side product. The main thing is she's got to look good, okay? That's the first thing. Just like a guy's got to be tall before a woman even notices his fucking ass, for a high value man, she's got to look good. Now, those other check marks that she thinks she brings to the table, maybe or maybe not, that he likes that. But it depends on him. But when women build themselves up, when women are educated, have careers, and they make their own money, then that guy has to also hit those check marks before she would even notice him. Because if he doesn't hit those check marks, because for all the fucking like, I want equality, I want fucking be treated like a man, when they want to marry somebody, they want to marry somebody that is at least as equal, if not more successful, more educated, make more money than them. And the more money she makes, the more educated she is, the smaller the pool of men that she will allow herself to consider, that pool fucking shrinks. Whereas the more successful and money a man makes, the pool of women that he will allow himself to consider choosing from expands exponentially. Okay? I mean, so it's a totally opposite. Whereas a man gets successful, he's got his pick of the litter. Whereas women become successful, in theory, she could have her pick of the litter, but the problem is they will consciously shrink the pool of men that they will consider. Now, the problem is that the men that they want don't limit themselves to just them. Because if they come across a hot 21-year-old barista at Starbucks, he may wife her up if she's fucking hot enough, okay? And if she hits other check marks, okay? And that's the thing a lot of these boss babes don't realize is that they think that the men that they want should only be considering them. And those men don't think that way. That's why Morgan Stanley, and I said this before, this study should be getting a lot more attention, but it doesn't. They said, they came out with this thing last year. They said by 2030, 42% of women aged 40 and over are going to be single and childless. Now, 42% single and childless by 2030. Now, think about it. When they make these projections, they don't do like the most optimistic. They do it like, okay, like on the low end, because if it's only like 35 if they say 42 and it's 35, then they look bad. All right, but if it's 42 and it's like 45 or 50, then it's like, wow, these guys are onto something. All right, so they don't want to be like too low, but they don't want to like overestimate. So I think, and that's only like 5.5 years from now. And so I think that number is going to be like maybe 45%, maybe even 50%. And I brought that up to her yesterday. You know what she fucking said? Well, that's because these men don't want to get their shit together. Can you blame these women? And I'm like, let me tell you something. If a man's not a Chad, okay, if he's not a 4.5 guy, which most women only consider 4.5% of men to be sexually appealing, that guy can make all the money in the world and he can be a workout warrior. Yet at the end of the day, all he'll be in the eyes of most women is a non-Chad with money and muscles. That's all he'll be. At best, he'll be a fallback option, which means that he's going to subject himself to being a fucking simp. And then if he marries, 56% of all marriages end in divorce. And of those 56% of marriages that divorce, women initiate 78% of them. So that's like getting on an airplane that has a 56% chance of crashing. And not only that, the parachute you put on has a 78% chance of not opening. Because that's what marriage is for most men. Because women are waiting later in life to get married, and they are divorcing much quicker at a higher rate. Which means that, of course, most of these women are only going to marry men that make more money than them. They're not going to marry guys that make less than them. So whenever the woman when she decides she wants to leave the simp, because if a woman can't marry a high value man, she's going to settle for a fucking simp. Because they're not going to marry a guy that's not going to fucking, if he ain't good looking, she ain't going to marry a fucking simp. Or she's only going to marry a fucking simp. But the thing is, they can only stay with the simp for so fucking long before they end up resenting that motherfucker. Because if you think I'm full of shit, look at all these romantic comedies. Why do you think they fucking do so good at the box office? Because they all tell the fucking same story. A woman marries a good guy who treats her good, makes good money, loves the kids, totally faithful. But something's missing. And what's missing is that Chad that she wants. Because the good guy's not laying it right. He's too nice of a guy to lay it right. So she tolerates him and has a family, but after about 15, 20 years, she can't stand it anymore because most men are not naturally sexually attracted, most women are not naturally sexually attracted to most men. And that's the reality of it. They only find 4.5% of men, whereas most men, we cast our net wide. The numbers, the data backs me up on this. Most men they'll swipe right on 35, 40% of profiles. But women, they only swipe right 4.5% of the time. And what that means, it ain't just the hotties out there. It ain't just the fucking supermodels or the fucking whatever. It's even women who are like 4s and 5s and 6s in the looks department. They're only swiping right 4.5% of the time. And like I said, most women look at 80% of men as being below a 5 on that 1 to 10 scale, below a fucking 5. That means they look at you being below average. Whereas the top 20% is above an 8. So they say, oh, we demean them about ranking them 1 to 10. Well, you know what? I would rather be ranked on a 1 to 10 scale than on a fucking below 5 or above an 8 scale. Because 80% of men are ranked below a fucking 5 by most women. So you're either hot shit or dog shit to most women. There's no in between. And so guys who are like 5s, 6s, 7s, and even 8s, those motherfuckers struggle dating. And the data backs me up on this. I came across last week several different studies that said that 33% of men have not had any sex in the last year. And then 60% have had between 1 and 3 sexual partners in the last year. The top 4.5% of men have had between 5 and 50 sexual partners in the last year. 4.5. Now, 1% of men, they have had 50 plus. And we're talking like the Drakes, the Rocks, the the Chris Hemsworth, Machine Gun Kelly, all these hip hoppers, these athletes, these guys, drug dealers, these guys are racking up some serious body counts, something most men will never ever be able to experience. So when they say that, like you hear women say, "Oh, I don't have sex on the first date." That's generally true for most men. But for that 4.5 guy, the Chads, the Tyrones, the bad boy guys, they have sex with those guys on their first date. Because one, they want to. Those guys, the 4.5 guy, those guys are the guys that make most women fucking tingle down there. Whereas most men don't. Most men have to fucking wait. But Chad, Tyrone, and the fucking bad boy, that motherfucker ain't never got to wait. And not only that, those guys, they have a fucking roster of fucking women that they can fucking go through at a moment's notice. And I've already told you guys about this one guy I play poker with, man. This motherfucker, like I said, Jesus. He's got 5 women that he's currently seeing right now, and he is running through each of their female friend groups. And each of them are he's got like 3 to 4 friends of them. And each of them think that they are the only one he is cheating on her friend with. That's how delusional these fucking women are. It's like, it's like, I was watching a few months ago, I was watching this Valuetainment podcast where they had like some fine ass women on their fucking panel. They had like these guys, they had like 5 guys who are like fucking the Chads of the world. The guys are high value men that just run through a bunch of females. And they had like 10 females. No, they had 15 females. They had 3 panels of 3 rows of 5. And so they asked these women some hella pointed questions. They said, which would you rather be? A billionaire who's the ugliest woman in the room, in every room you walked in, or would you rather be the finest woman in every room you walk in, but you were broke? Only one of them said she'd rather be a billionaire and ugly. The rest of them said they'd rather be gorgeous and broke. And they asked another question. Have any of you ever dated a Chad that your friend, that cheated on you with one of your friends? And they all raised their fucking hand. And then he asked them, listen, how many of you have ever cheated with a guy that was dating one of your girlfriends? And 13 of the 15 girls raised their fucking hand. Oh man, I about laughed my ass off when I saw that, man. And it's like, and you should see how they were raising their hands. Like a few of them raised up their hands. Like they kind of looked to see who else was going to raise their hand, because they didn't want to be the only one that raised their fucking hand. But then when they saw a couple of the other ones raise their hand, they're like, okay, I'll be honest. 13 of the 15 said that they had cheated with a guy that one of their girlfriends was dating. I saw one the other night where Rollo Tomasi was interviewing a guy, and he said that he was at a restaurant with Justin Waller, who's like a alpha guy. He's a fucking walking Chad, okay? Got that? He's got the it factor. He said that they were having dinner one time at a restaurant at a hotel in Texas somewhere, and he said this gorgeous lady that was in her early 20s walked up to their table and handed Justin a piece of paper and then smiled at him and walked off. And on the paper it had her telephone number and the hotel room that she was staying in, and said, I hope to see you in a little bit. Just like that. And he just laughed and put it in his pocket. Most men will never get to experience something like that. But that guy does. Not only that, but I mean, it's just unbelievable. And these guys are racking up some fucking serious fucking body count. Those are the guys that most women notice. Those are the guys that are doing all the cheating. Those are the guys that are doing all the fucking, just like I said, just smashing and dashing, pumping and dumping, and just running through them. And yet, these same women will get online and bitch about, I can't find a good guy. Men won't commit. Men cheat. No, Most men don't cheat. Most men can't cheat. It's kind of hard to cheat when most women look at 80% of men as being below a 5. But the guys that they notice, the guys that they want, those are the fucking guys that cheat. Those are the ones that are racking up some body count. But the problem is they don't notice most men. And it's like there's this famous thing where this guy was saying that he was trying to prove to a woman that how she ignores most men. And so he's saying that, for instance, you see that guy across the street? And she looks at him. She goes, which guy? He goes, the guy across the street. She goes, what, the guy behind the mailman? He goes, no, the mailman. It's the fact that she'd even acknowledge the mailman as existing, or the grocery guy, or the clerk, or the server. It's like, those are the guys that they don't want. Yet the guys that they do want, the guys that they notice, are the ones that are fucking walking red flags. And yet they want to label all men as being fucking can't commit or can't get their shit together, blah, 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 blah. The thing is, and so it's like I didn't think to tell this lady yesterday I was having this argument with. I said, you know what? But what I should have said was, most women are used to dealing with two types of men. They're used to dealing with the chads that basically tell them what they want to hear in order to fucking smash and dash them, pump and dump. Or they're used to the simps who tell them what they want to hear, who agree with everything they say because they don't want to rock the boat, because a lot of these guys, they can't attract other women. And so obviously there's not enough 4.5 guys to go around for all the women that want that guy to wife her up. So obviously most women settle for these motherfuckers that, that hit other check marks, but they just don't make them tingle down there. But like I said, those marriages are lasting not nearly as long as they used to, because women feel like they have more options today. But they really don't. All right? Because the math will not change. It doesn't matter how educated they are, how much money they make. It depends on how they look. The type of man that they're looking for, their looks is the number one factor. And they want to keep saying, well, my weight shouldn't matter. Okay? It shouldn't matter if I have a career. It shouldn't matter if I have an opinion. And it's like the high value man doesn't care how much money you make. He doesn't care how educated you are. He doesn't care what kind of career you have. That guy wants to know. He wants to see how hot you are. He wants to see your age. He wants to see if you're willing to be on his program. Because that guy he's not looking for a partner. He's looking for a wife. And that's just something that's what that girl said yesterday. She was like, women want a partner. These men need to understand. And it's like, most men will be okay with a partner because most men need that second income to provide for most families, because in today's world, it takes 2 incomes to make most families be comfortable. And so, of course, if a woman's bringing income to a relationship, to a marriage, she has every right to expect equality, okay, to expect the guy to have to listen to her fucking ramble every fucking day, because that's the world that we live in. But the high value man, that guy doesn't want to listen to a woman ramble when he comes home, okay? Because he's earned it. Fair and unfair, like it or not, that guy has earned the right to be fucking picky and choosy when it comes to the type of partner he wants. So in other words, he wants a wife. He don't want a fucking partner. All right? And they hate that because they just think that, because they built themselves up. Because they think they're a fucking 10. But the thing is, the things that makes a man a 10 don't make a woman a 10 in the eyes of a high value man. And so it's like, I think it's funny when I watch these podcasts, and it's like these women come on there asking what they got to do to get a high value man. And then when the guy tells them what they got to do, they yell at him. They argue with him. That's not right. He shouldn't want that. He should value this. There's more to me than that. And it's like, wait a second. It's like going to the doctor and asking for a cure, and then you bitch at him when he gives you what you need to do to fucking get cured. And that's the problem, is that, they don't like the cure. They don't like the medicine he's giving them. All right. And I think that, it's that, And what's happening is that a lot of regular guys are just deciding to go their own way. They're deciding, you know what, I don't want to deal with dating anymore. I don't want to deal with these delusional ass females. What they want to, they're deciding that, which is what I decided 17 years ago when I decided, and I told you guys this before, my last relationship that I ever had was I got tired of arguing about watching football on Sundays. And I told her, I said, if you think I'm going to go, I've been watching football for 30 years, you think I'm going to go another 30 years without watching football for you? You're out of your fucking mind. And I broke up with her. And of course, when I broke up with her, she said, you're breaking up with me? Because women aren't used to a guy breaking up with them. They're used to being the ones that fucking end things. And when you break up with them, oh my God, it's like a fucking slap in the face when you break up with them. You know, and since then, I've been living life on fucking easy mode. You know, and I think that, you know, that's what more and more men are wanting to do today. It's just live life on easy mode. You know, because when I gave up dating, you know, no more drama, no more conflict, no more arguing. I come home to a peaceful home. It's quiet. I get to do what the fuck I want to do. Every year I go to Vegas. And like I said, I go to Vegas for like 5.5, 6 weeks. And I don't have to worry about somebody bitching about the fact I'm gone so fucking long. And literally, you guys need to look it up. It's called MGTOW. It's called Men Going Their Own Way, because a lot of guys just don't want to date anymore. Because one, most guys are not the type of men that most women want to be with. And number two, they don't want to fucking simp. You know, and let me tell you something. They always like to think it's the guy's fault. But you look at gay couples. Look at the rate of domestic violence among lesbians versus gay men. When you factor in all three couples, like lesbians, straight couples, and gay men, lesbians have the highest rate of domestic violence versus, then you got straight guys, and then at the bottom of the totem pole is gay men. Gay men have the lowest rate of domestic violence. Now, if it was just a man's fault all the time, you think it would be gay men would be higher because it's two men together. But no, it's the lowest rate. And you know why? Because gay men know that if the sex ain't there, there's no sense in having a relationship. That's why gay men have sex on the first fucking date, because one, they want to. All right, something straight guys, all straight men wish they could do, but you know, but the only guys that get laid on the first date are the fucking Chads and Tyrones and the bad boy guys, the bad boy types. Most men don't get laid on a first date. But gay men, they fuck on a first date because they understand that if the sex ain't there, there's no need to have a conversation, no need to have a second date. You know, and that's why I think you have, among gay men, the domestic violence rate is so fucking low. You know, whereas I think among lesbian couples, the reason why they have the highest rate is because I think you're dealing with two women who are competing with each other for attention. See, when you have straight couples, guys know when they come home, they're going to have to listen to her fucking ramble. They're going to have to listen to her, and they can't really give her a solution because she don't want to hear a solution. Because I can remember back when I used to date, and a girlfriend I had, she wanted she come home, she want to like ramble, and every time I try to offer a solution, she say, I don't want a solution, I just want you to listen. And it's like, so I listen, and it's like, damn. Now I'm in a bad mood because she dumped all her fucking emotional garbage on me, and I'm not in a bad fucking mood. And that's one thing I don't miss about the fucking dating, is the fucking constant need to emotionally fucking dump. All right? And it's like, you know, and I wouldn't mind it so much if like, okay, well then, here's what the solution is. If they would be willing to listen to a fucking solution, but women don't want to hear a solution. They just want to fucking dump. You know, and I think when you have two women together and they both are trying to dump on each other, that's the fucking problem. And I think that's where part of where the anger comes from, is that one of them is doing the dumping and the other one wants to, but she can't. And that's when she just fucking blows up at the other one, and that's when I think you have the problems. I could be wrong, but I think that makes a lot of fucking sense. You know, whereas I think gay men, you know, if the sex is good, whatever problems these guys are going to have, they work it out. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, the girlfriends I had where the sex was good, whenever we had issues, I probably stayed longer than I would have if the sex wasn't good. Because I want to say this, okay? A lot of women, they'll complain about, guys, the guys that they had sex with on the first date, they didn't call them back. But they think if they didn't have sex with them, that the guy would have fucking dated them longer. And I'm like, that's total bullshit. If a man has sex with a woman on the first date and he don't want to, like, if he ghosts her after that, then that means that for whatever reason, the sex wasn't good to him. Doesn't mean that she was bad per se. It just means that to him, it wasn't what he's looking for. All right? Because it happens with gay men. Gay men have sex, and if the sex ain't what they're looking for, they don't ever talk to each other again. But if the sex is good, they're going to hook up again. And I think that women need to understand this, that if they have sex with a guy and he don't talk to her again, it's because, not because she gave it up, it's because that's not what whatever it is, he's not looking for that. But in their mind, it makes them sleep better at night if they just blame him for ghosting her. Because they love doing that. They love blaming men. But they don't ever accept responsibility for the type of men that they spread their fucking legs for. They don't want to hear that they pick bad. All they want to hear is the guy fucked up. He needs to fucking grow up. He needs to get more mature. But they don't ever want to hear that they picked the wrong guys who have zero interest in committing, because these guys know that they have options. Like, you look at Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods was single for a number of years, but he played in a sport where you got to have that corporate wife. If you're a golfer, you need to have that proper, so he married like the proper woman. But if you look at all those fucking skanks that he had fucking marital affairs with, they look like the type of women that will do any kinky, freaky, nasty little thing in bed that a motherfucker wants them to do. Whereas his wife looked like the proper, give him a couple kids, angelic wife that is very presentable into the corporate world. But the women that he fucked around with were not as beautiful as his wife. They were fine, but they weren't as beautiful. But they had that fucking skanky, freaky, I'll toss your fucking salad look. And that's what Tiger Woods and a lot of men like him want. So when I tried to explain that lady yesterday about, you know, like with my friend who's a fucking Chad, who's got like a bunch of females, she goes, that shouldn't be a thing that he's proud of. And I'm like, you know what? Most men would love to be a fucking Chad. Most men would love to have a fucking roster of females to fucking call up that they could fucking run through. But the reality is, most men will never have that fucking option. So most men pretty much have to be faithful because, one, they got no fucking choice. All right? Whereas the type of men that most women want, those motherfuckers will never be fucking faithful because most women want them. And so it's like, you know, particularly like when I heard about what happened with Tiger Woods, I mean, he would talk about these women that would fucking, they get interviewed and they would tell them like how they fucking hooked up with Tiger and everything. One of them was like a server, and she said she just gave Tiger this look, like she was interested. Let me tell you something, man. Women say they bitch about, well, you know, men need to fucking, if they commit to a woman and get married, they just need to keep it in their pants. They need to have discipline. That's easy to say when most women can easily reject most men, because most of the men that hit on most women are men that women don't find to be sexually appealing. Whereas when a man's famous, the females that come up to him are all fucking fine. They're gorgeous, they're fine. And it's fucking tough for a man to say, you know what? No, I'm going to turn her down. Whereas it's easy for most women to turn most guys down because the guys that hit on them are just not appealing to them. And I don't think women understand that. You know, it's like most men will never have that fucking problem. So it's actually easy for most men to be faithful. You know. And so, anyway, this has been about 45 minutes. I just thought I'd bring that up. You know, I'm at the park, and I think, you know, I probably need to pay my dog attention because she's, you know, kind of looking at me weird. But anyway, I'm going to upload this when I get home because I need to be on my Wi-Fi when I upload this. And as always, I look forward to you guys' comments. And hey, Stella, this is my dog Stella. Say bye-bye, girl. Give me a kiss. I know I'm getting ready to go. I'm getting ready to go pay you some attention. Anyway, guys, after I post this online, look forward to your comments. And I promise I got some comments about my take on the election. When I get home tonight, I'll do a video about the election, about fucking Trump, and about JD Vance, that fucking piece of shit motherfucker, and all the stuff that's going on in the world. I will comment about that because I've been getting requests about that. Now we'll do that later when I get home, but I want to get this one out of the way because I wanted to comment on some of the stuff I've been watching lately. And so, as always, hope you guys enjoy. I look for your comments. If you got any suggestions, I'll be glad to listen to them. And as always, I'll talk about anything. All right, guys, you have a good day, and I will talk to you guys later. All right, bye-bye.